Thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Fort William Historical Park kicked off its great Rendezvous celebration this weekend with Celtic Days. The first 2 days of the 9-day event celebrates the city's Scottish history and the broader Celtic culture. Jessica Clement has the details.
Fort William Historical Park kicked off the Great Rendezvous celebration with a bang and bagpipes. The 9-day celebration features a number of events and programming over the week and started with Celtic Days on Saturday. Visitors were able to experience Celtic culture, including music, dances, hands-on activities, and an on-site artisan market. Communications Officer Emily Carr says Scottish culture had an impact in the fur trade.
Especially since Fort William was and the Northwest Company were very much organized by Scottish businessmen who then partnered with French Canadians and Indigenous peoples. So it's not just focusing just on Celtic. We do have, different aspects from French Canadian culture and specifically Anishinaabe culture happening with us all week.
Attendees were treated to songs by local pipe and drum bands and dance performances from Highland dancers. Dancer Anna Baines says there's a number of dances visitors will be able to watch over the weekend.
Today we've just done a fling, which is probably the most common Highland dance you'll see. And we've also done a lilt, which is one with a skirt. And we've also done a barracks, which I really like. It's one of my favorites.
Baines says being able to dance and show her culture in front of an audience makes her feel empowered.
I really like, firstly, that it's tied into my culture because I am Scottish, and also it's just a really fun activity to get out and do and make friends. I love it. I feel very empowered, and I feel good showing people my dancing and showing them what I can do.
Celtic Days will continue on Sunday from 10 to 5 p.m. More information about the rest of the Great Rendezvous Celebrations programming can be found online at fwhp.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Medical professionals have to weigh the ethics of their decisions every day. And for dozens of hospitals and clinics in the region, the Lakehead University Center for Healthcare Ethics can provide guidance in making some of those more difficult choices. The center is marking its 25th anniversary with a visit to the region. Lee Noonan has more.
A dozen of the region's hospitals, as well as several long-term care homes and other service providers, are partnered with the Lakehead University Center for Healthcare Ethics, sharing a bioethicist, Ryan Tonkins, who is touring some of the hospitals to the east of the region as part of the center's 25th anniversary celebrations.
Ethics is something that I think healthcare professionals confront every day.
Smaller northern hospitals would never have the resources to retain their own bioethicist, says Nipigon Hospital's CEO, Kathy Eady.
The thing about ethics is there's no right or wrong answer, and there's no, the bioethicist isn't going to be the ethics police and tell you this is the decision you should make, but they just help to facilitate the discussions a little bit more.
While in Nipigon, Tonkins is touring the hospital and meeting with staff and management to discuss some of the ethical questions they wrestle with on the job.
We might have, say, a patient or a resident in LTC who we think is making a poor choice or is maybe doing things that are harmful to them. There might be questions about the extent to which the resident has capacity to consent or the extent to which they understand what they're doing and are doing so knowingly and willingly.
According to both Tonkins and Eady, small hospitals like Nipigon face unique ethical challenges you might not encounter in a city.
We're their neighbors. You live down the street, they know your family. We talked a lot about the privacy piece of that, but also keeping that therapeutic boundary when they are your neighbors and they're asking how your mom's doing and they know your family, etc.
Someone doing many roles or there's fewer resources available, and sometimes not having the resources means that the ethical issues become much more pronounced because the right answer might involve more money or more space or more staff, but we don't have that available to us.
For patients and their families, Tonkins says it's important to understand that in Canada, ethics guidelines prioritize patient autonomy.
It's kind of like watching a close relative marrying what you think is the wrong person. Any decision that we think is high risk or something that the person shouldn't be doing, but they're expressing their own autonomy and self-determination, so they ought to be able to make that decision for themselves, as long as they're not harming anyone, I would say.
Lee Noonan, TBT News.
There was a groundbreaking ceremony in Rainy River on Wednesday for the construction of a brand new school and childcare center. The province committed more than $30 million to the project. It's part of the plan to invest upwards of $15 billion over the next decade into schools across Ontario. Provincial ministers were on hand for the groundbreaking of the new Rainy River facility, which will go from JK to grade 12.
I think it's the kind of asset that will attract families. This is a community on the rise. It serves a vast district.
This project wouldn't have been achieved if not for the advocacy of your MPP. Greg Rickford fought hard to make sure that funding flowed outside of the GTA into this part of Ontario that has been, perhaps for many may say, left behind from some of those critical investments. And I know between housing and infrastructure and education, we're on a roll right now in the Northwest.
The school will be equipped for more than 300 students and offer 39 low-cost childcare spaces to the community. Much-needed new pumper is now stationed at the Ignace Fire Department, courtesy of Canada's Nuclear Waste Management Organization. The township paid only the taxes on the $700,000 fire truck, with the NWMO paying for the truck itself out of the $4 million reserve fund provided to Ignace as one of two communities still in consideration as a possible host site for a nuclear waste depository. Ignace Fire Chief Shonda Tracy says they were lucky to get the pumper, as fire trucks are generally out of stock due to supply chain issues.
The timing couldn't be any better than this. The pumper that it's replacing is 33 years old. Like, you're only supposed to have pumpers for 25 years, so it's well past its date. It's not making its certifications anymore. The pump's not passing its certifications. It's not passing its road tests. So it's done. It's not of any use to us. So the timing is perfect for replacement.
When we saw it pulling in today, like, it's beautiful. Who wouldn't want that? And how lucky are we? We have many to thank for. We have our staff. We have Andrew Sprunt, who is working with NWMO, and we also have NWMO to thank for that fire truck.
Bagree says getting the new pumper doesn't influence her stance on hosting the depository, as she was already in favor of the project and hopes Ignace will be selected as the nuclear waste site. Hearing aids invented over 100 years ago have come a long way in terms of both the technology and the aesthetics. There's a new survey out from a hearing aid manufacturer that finds young people still don't like the idea of wearing them. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has more.
Though a critical part of everyday living for many Canadians, there are still many negative viewpoints surrounding hearing aids, particularly among young people.
There's their perception that having a hearing loss is associated with older age, but these days we're seeing it more and more with younger generations wearing headphones or earbuds all the time.
Insignia's survey, the results showed this. 40% of Gen Z respondents think that wearing a hearing aid reduces people's chance to get a job. Just 14% of baby boomers agreed. 38% of Gen Zers think that wearing a hearing aid makes people look impaired or vulnerable. Only 15% of boomers thought that. And 34% of Gen Z respondents think that wearing a hearing aid makes people look older than they are. Only 18% of boomers agree. Experts add that many people with hearing problems won't wear the devices, and some are even skeptical about getting their ears checked.
A lot of people are afraid to come in because they're afraid, they're going to tell me I need a hearing aid and, high pressure sales. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. We're more medical professionals trying to inform people about their hearing loss, if they even have hearing loss.
Justin Lasuk is 28 and has used a hearing aid for 11 years. He credits the new designs and Bluetooth capability with being more comfortable wearing them.
They're not noticeable really at all, and a lot of people that I meet don't even realize I have one in until I mention it. It's just something that I wear, just like glasses or orthotics.
Experts add that hearing aids do have limitations and won't bring back perfect hearing, but are still advisable to get when needed.
You want to make sure that you're properly equipped to function at your top capacity. And I don't care whether you're young, you're old, or in your golden years. You deserve to live your life to your fullest potential.
Audiologists say it takes roughly 7 years from the time a person notices problems with their hearing to the point where they consider hearing aids. But they believe that number is shrinking. And they say the longer a person avoids getting hearing aids, the more difficult the adjustment can be. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
A local lawyer has been named to the Ontario Bar Association's Board of Directors. Katie Camisso has been elected as second vice president. She's on track to become president in 2 years, making her the first Thunder Bay lawyer in more than 50 years to assume that role.
It's a huge accomplishment for me professionally. The OBA has been an organization I've been involved with throughout my career, and I'm thrilled to take on this new role.
Camisso is a litigator at Bizet LLP and has been practicing law for 7 years. She currently serves as the OBA's chair of selections, helping the organization represent more than 16,000 members in the province. When she joins the board of directors, Camisso says her mandate will be to support young lawyers and to ensure their voices are heard.
The practice of law is a very demanding career, and I think it's a constant adjustment. But I can say from experience that being a member of organizations like the OBA provides such a vital support to lawyers in those challenges. So I'm grateful now to be able to take on more of a leadership role within that organization.
Camisso will begin her term as second vice president in September. She'll then be elevated to first vice president next year before finally taking over as OBA president in 2025. We're now joined by sports anchor Mike Lang. We jump to the Thunder Bay Chill. As of late, they've been on fire 8 in a row, a chance for 9 wins last night.
And a chance for us to make many puns about that. The
Love
Chill
puns,
on
yes,
fire,
yes.
right? Red hot Chill. But unfortunately, they did cool off a little bit last night. We'll have that story and more coming right up.